This is the first episode of Let's Get Real Winchester, made by me, Hannah. And basically, the point of this podcast is to pose a question to the community, where the community can answer anonymously and unfiltered. And for each episode, the prompt/question changes. Basically, the point of this is for people, specifically the ones living in Winchester, to be able to freely say and express what they're thinking without a cost or like this constant layer of judgment, which I think makes a lot of people self-conscious and limit what they're saying. And, you know, people do judge either way. So this is kind of like a place for free speech, obviously within some limits, but overall it's just kind of a broad thing where we want to hear what, you know, regular people in the town want to say. And I'm here with... Don't be shy.
Do you want us to say it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Haley.
Yeah. The second one.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I'm the second one.
Yeah.
I'm Dane. I work here at WinCam.
I also work at WinCam.
Mm-hmm. They're excited to be on my show. I held them at gunpoint to be on this show.
Yeah, so just an average day in America.
Yeah. So, typical. I know Winchester's used to that. Okay, so basically, you know, first episode, 2 responses. Everyone was very excited. But we have
So excited for free speech.
41 followers, though, on Instagram.
Oh, look at that. I think that's just because of you.
First week, 41. And we're growing. We're going to grow in mass. I'm going to have a whole army of free speechers.
You're going to be storming the Winchester Town Hall.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a bunch of like teenagers, and they're going to be like, "Let's get real Winchester," and they're gonna be chanting outside of town hall.
And we'll just receive local angry calls.
Yeah.
Here at WinCam.
That's fine. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but like...
Only happens sometimes.
Occasionally.
And it's really small.
I'm begging for someone that's not watching, listening to this right
I want
now.
to speak to the girl who made that podcast.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Go on the Instagram. Let's get real Winchester and DM me. They probably don't know how to do that. Okay, so out of the 2 responses, I'm going to read the first one, and there's discussion, and then I'm going to read the second one. So the first person said, "I go to community college. People around here don't usually do that. They go to 4-year schools, have their parents spend $60K just to get drunk, high, pregnant, and act stupid. The funny thing is, these parents don't even know how dumb their kids actually are. They think they're little angels who could do no wrong. If you want to party, become 21 and go to a bar or get a fake ID and be stupid without wasting daddy's money. But who am I to tell anyone any different? Not like people actually listen to good advice."
Oof.
All right, so Hannah, like I know that you said that you were going to be anonymous, but like you didn't have to write your whole life like on that first one.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. That was
Yeah,
me.
that was.
I'm actually going to community college as well as high school, so yeah.
Do we have to give our disclaimer of like me and you?
Oh, yeah, we should probably say that. These are our opinions, not the opinions of WinCam.
Yeah, just for me and Haley, because we have to say that.
Yeah, these are fully my opinions.
Same.
Like, no, do not count this as
Don't
WinCam
at
doesn't
WinCam.
feel this way. There's a reason Dane and I aren't allowed to talk to the public.
I talk to the
'Cause we
public
sound like
just
the-
like, but you
Oh,
gotta
I'm not allowed to.
But you got to be like really, really different.
Your customer service voice?
Yeah, my Karen voice. It's I just like it, my whole voice just kind of goes up an octave, and I'm just like, oh my god, can I help you? Yeah, that's a lot to unpack.
Someone is angry.
Someone is mad.
Someone's always mad.
I don't blame them, to be honest.
Well, yeah, like...
I feel like that's a common undertone of this town from kids, some of the kids, but they don't say it.
Oh, yeah, of
Feeling
course
that
not.
way and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
I feel like they feel like that. Some of them. Mm-hmm. Some of them might just be like not that passionate, but feel like I think they understand what they have.
Yeah.
I think there's a definite like in Winchester. There's a definite like some kids know exactly what they have and they abuse it, and then there's some kids that know exactly what they have and they try to make it work for others.
Yeah.
and they're aware that there's an outside world. Like the bubble is non-existent to them, which is appreciative on our end.
Yeah. Well, and then there's some kids where like this town is just a bubble.
Yeah.
Where like because like there's some people who it's like, and this is true for like everywhere, but like I see it a lot here where it's like when people here like leave this town, especially like kids who are gonna like leave here, go to college like in another state, even it's like it's not Winchester.
Oh no.
Like
No, there's a lot going on outside of this town. And it can be like I don't know how to say it politely, but there's
Go in.
yeah there's a toxicity in this town, like straight up. Like there's and it comes in many different forms.
well, it's like, you know how every pop punk song is like, I hate this
Yeah.
town, or some variation on this.
It was some kid from Winchester.
Yeah.
Probably. Like, I know, like, Midwest emo is its own genre, but,
Yeah.
like, I feel like Winchester is, like, the, quote, this town.
It is.
It's an odd thing because, like, I've met kids that are, like, really into here, and that's awesome, and I value everything that you do, that you want to grow up and be. That's great. And then I've met kids that are like, I want to get out of here.
Yeah.
Save me. Like, you know, it's just like, I
Yes.
can't help you. And it's just like,
I don't live here, you're not my problem.
yeah, that's one of my things. It's like, I immediately tell, like, there have been moments where I have told people that they're like, oh, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Chelsea, Massachusetts. And they go, that's great. And then they get very uncomfortable very quickly. And it's always my favorite thing to do. And I can do this at anywhere. And then they just like, and then they try to do the thing like, oh, it's a really rough place, this and that. And I'm like, well, I used to live there. I live in Saugus now. And I'm just like, and then they kind of get like a little bit more comfortable with having to ask me questions about it.
Yeah.
And then I just go, and it's just a bad interpretation. I'm like, yeah, you're wrong. But like, then I try to tell them stuff. You know, I told you some stuff like last night about like Chelsea, but like, it's not like that anymore. But here it's, you know, you have to change, like you and me being from completely different like places. You're from Jersey. I'm from Chelsea.
Yeah.
Like coming in like a melting pot, like areas and being placed here to work here. It's a very interesting thing.
It's
like,
crazy. Oh, sorry,
do.
go on.
No, it's like getting dropped in the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, literally. It's because I talk about this a lot where like the town I grew up in Jersey, like Edison was very diverse. Like we had a population of almost, I think, 100,000 people.
Yeah.
Whereas like I'm not sure of the population of Winchester. I just know it's
Small.
not. Yeah, that.
Enough.
Enough, yeah.
Very much so.
Which was like, this is true for like Winchester, but it's also true for like when I used to live in Chelmsford, which is about like 25 minutes from here. My dad still lives there. I moved to Boston like 2 years ago. And so yeah, I tell people like growing up in Edison was like, it's like you said, a melting pot where like I got to meet people of like different cultures, different religions, different countries. Like and you know, everywhere in town, like I heard people speaking like different languages, and we had a very large like Indian Hindu population where like there was like a street where it was like a bunch of like Indian supermarkets and clothing stores, to the point where like it was literally like it earned the nickname like Little India. I hope it was given that lovingly, knowing some of the people I grew up with.
It's hard being, because you don't know.
I know, yeah.
You don't know where it came from.
It's just like crazy because like, you know, I got to grow up with like seeing all these different people, and there's like kids here, and even like our coworker Andrew was telling us he went to UMass Lowell.
Yeah.
He commutes there, and he was like, oh yeah, even just like going to Lowell was such like
A change.
a change, yeah. And it's just like, part of me is kind of like, I wonder how y'all are gonna do if you ever leave this town.
If you choose it, because I'm assuming that you're like a lot of kids. I'm assuming about 90% of Winchester puts their kids go to college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe
And
that.
and it's like, and that's great. And whether it's first like big college off the board, or it's just Boston in general, or then you got some of your UMasses and things like that, or then if you're going out of the country or state or things like that, that's great. I honestly think that the big thing that I would say for a lot of communities too, just in general, is that I would encourage your kids to go to college, go to an outside, like it could still be in the state, but not the town that you're from.
Yeah.
And go to or out of state, out of country, so that if they want to come back to their community and give back in a certain way, I think that's still very positive for any community.
Yeah.
I think that's very good, but it also gives that kid a complete like experience about life, and hopefully they're brave enough to do that. Because sometimes when they go to college, they just stick to what they know, and they don't grow at all. And like I think that's a big thing. Like I grew up in a predominantly Spanish culture, which I loved, and then I went from that to Brookline Village, because I went to the New England Institute of Art, and I got my 4-year degree, and it was I surrounded my people, like me with my people, of just things that we had in common, but it didn't matter like who they were, religion, race, color, it doesn't matter. All that stuff doesn't really matter to me, because it's just like I just wanted to talk shop. I wanted to talk audio, video, photography, things like that. And that was what we were all there for. We were all focused on learning, which is a big thing about college, is that like when you get so specific into your degree, like and all of those people are there, you develop a very good friendship, and then you develop also a like, I don't want to say employment, but like connections, where like you're like, oh, I know a guy who knows how to do that, and that's a great thing about college. But this, I mean, to unpack what that person is.
Their opinion.
He's like, bro, you okay?
He's, she, he, it, the whatever it is. I don't know what it is now.
I think I got canceled.
Yeah, I just human. There you go. You're human. You're put here.
Yeah.
Unless you're not. And
That's
you choose,
fine.
and you choose to be celestial.
I think
That's
it's
great.
a computer that just generated this.
It would be great.
An
Yeah.
AI.
An AI that
wrote
understands
that.
Winchester.
God, no, you could never.
It would know.
I forced a bot to watch thousands of hours of Winchester Town meetings.
Winchester content.
Hell.
Yeah.
And it wrote this show.
Yeah. I want to like tell that kid straight up that it gets better,
Yeah.
because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like it's a lot of like, I don't appreciate the culture of what's here.
I get it. Like for me, when I read this, I see like some of myself in it. Like someone's very mad. And I get why they're mad, because I feel like there's two main perceptions of a lot of the kids living in Winchester. There's the kids that enjoy this sort of stuff, and they kind of don't think, I think, too much about how Winchester is different from other places, and they're going to see that later on. But then I think there's also some kids that are very aware that it's not the same and feel angry because they know certain things isn't how it is in the real world, and that their peers cannot see that yet.
I feel like it's a lot of like, they see through it.
Yeah,
Like,
and
you
it's
can
frustrating.
yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is, like, stupid. And you know that, but you can't do anything about it until you leave. And they go to community college. And I already think, like, part of the reason they might be pissed off, which is because in this town, college is held to such a high standard. People will, like, get crapped on for, like, going to community college, even though it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not. Like,
No.
It's not.
it's cheaper.
It's cheaper. It doesn't give you any like less of a head start than anybody else. Everyone's path is different. Everyone's pace is different.
Yeah.
That needs to be come across right now.
Yeah.
The big deal about like that is that like I guess I'll pose the question back to the person, if you're hopefully hearing this, is that how do you want to change that?
Yeah.
Like, as somebody that's very deep into philosophy and things like that, is that we can write our thoughts out and be angry and this and that and be whatever it is. It all comes back to a center of like, how do you change that? How do you want to accomplish that goal? How do you make that a promising factor in your life to bring that to other kids or to other adults or government of the town? Like, it's like if they're very adamant about that feeling, you can have that feeling, but if you do not act upon it, either with inward or outward, then your point will become invalid.
Yeah, just festering that.
Yeah, you're just festering frustration, which is unfortunate because I felt the same. Like I felt the same way for years. Like when you grow up in like poverty and you grow up very poor, and you want to change that, but there is no outlet to change that.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard to be like, how do I do this? And then you either rise to the occasion and start coming up with solutions, or you fester and then wallow in it, and then you eventually become it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's almost like the feeling of being trapped.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a different. It's interesting because I feel like a lot of kids here have like a different version of trapped.
Yeah.
Definitely.
They have like an essence over them that's just like there's like an unspoken guideline that they have to follow.
Yeah, and it's like, it's crazy when I go over to the high school and, like, first of all, the cafeteria looks like an airport gate.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
it
I've
does.
always said, or like a mall, like a food
Yeah, no,
it's
it
very
looks,
odd.
it's
It does.
crazy when you, like, walk into it, and then I'm looking on the screens how they refer to it specifically as the Winchester High School.
I know, it's so weird.
And it's almost
Yeah,
as if,
like Bruce Buffer should be announcing it.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're not the, it's the.
Yeah, no, it's like,
Yes,
welcome
the-
to the Winchester High School, and it's like, come on, man, like,
So proper. For
I-
what?
Very.
and it feels like these kids, I feel like they're just in a
okay.
different world, like, and you speaking of like that guideline, that like invisible guideline they have to follow, it's almost like you're kind of just I feel like there's like kids under pressure to just be like perfect and represent like
Definitely.
the town and
High
you know
standards and stuff.
and it's and I even see it like just like the Hall of Fame thing. They
Yeah.
didn't schedule town meetings specifically so they could have that. I covered the select board meeting last night,
Yeah.
and it ended at like 6:45 so they could like get there in time. And it's just like I've never seen that like
I
in another place.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be able to give an opinion about like any other place because I've never ever seen it anywhere
Yeah.
else.
Even
I
in,
bet
like-
it does happen.
So
Yeah.
you're saying we're special here.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
I'm
a lot
just
special.
real glad y'all don't call your high school Winchester Academy because Westford
That
does
would be the but the thing is you say that and then someone's gonna hear that and go,
I know,
we should
yeah.
do that.
No,
We should do that.
My dad works in Westford, and their high school is Westford Academy. And the first time he told me that, I was like, "You're joking."
This
He's
is like very preppy or something.
"It's a high school. It's just Westford High
It's
School.
just like a chill high school.
It's literally just a high school with rich kids." But they're like, "Oh no, we have to call ourselves Westford Academy."
Is Fitchburg Academy? I can't remember.
I don't know. I know there's Milton Academy
Because you have to be
down in Milton.
you have to like get into Fitchburg State, right? Or what is it called? Oh, something like that.
Oh, that's the college.
Yeah, there's like a what am I thinking of? I'll think about it later. But because two of my cousins went there,
Yeah.
and it's like oh no, I'm thinking of Bishop Fenwick.
I was gonna say, like,
That's
are
what
you
I'm
thinking
thinking
of like that school, that one school? Like,
Yeah, that school I think is a private school.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It is a public high school, and they're like, "We're Westford Academy," and I'm just
a
like,
bit pretentious.
no, and
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
if you live out that far in West Massachusetts, you're not real.
it's
It's not real.
I've
Anything,
wondered that. Like, what do they do there?
nothing. I asked the gas station attendant one time. He said nothing.
yeah, no, and it's
He
really
thinks
funny.
we're weird, and I was like, "You're lying." I was like, I swear to God, it was like after concert. I was out in the middle of nowhere. I went to a Cumberland Farms, and I saw this kid, and I asked him, I
got
was like, "Yo,
Cumberlands
do you
out
guys
there?
like have anything
Yeah.
like out here?" And he just like started giving me like extreme detail, and I was like, "We live in two different Massachusetts."
It's
Yeah.
I
so
was like,
funny
yeah.
because like hearing that story, and like I live by Milton. They also call their high school Milton Academy, which I'm like, it's a public high school.
Yeah.
Get off your high horse. And it's so funny. Both my parents grew up in New York City. My mom's from Queens. My dad's from Brooklyn, which probably also explains a lot
The
about
Bronx represent.
me. And so it's like my parents both went to high schools that were literally just like PS 180 whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah.
I only know that because of Hey Arnold.
I missed that show.
I love that show.
But it was like just hearing stuff like that, and I'm like, even other place like just in the Northeast, I don't even see that. Like my best friend lives in like one of the richest parts of Connecticut, and like they don't even do that.
Yeah.
It's just Ridgefield High School.
Yeah, Connecticut's a
Emma.
whole different podcast. That's a man.
Oh, I could go on.
It's a thing. I feel like we've diverged from the conversation. The question you posed was, is college worth it, right?
Yep.
And that person obviously went, community college sounds worth it, but does it sound like that person doesn't want to pursue more college?
I think they could. I think what they're mostly bitter about is the fact that there's other people who will go to college but just waste their time.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it worth it if you're going to waste your time?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
see what they mean. Because, like, I know at the same time, like, they say, like, oh, you know, you should still go out to parties and stuff, be social, because it is part of the college experience, but it's like, there's party schools. They're called party schools for a reason, where it's like, people just pick, like, a fake major.
I'm not saying UMass Amherst is that, but it is.
No, it is.
No,
my
straight up
ex.
is.
No,
It
my
is.
ex went to UMass Amherst and was in a frat. I have bad taste.
It's so bad. It's like I went
do
there.
anything there.
I went there to check it out for my cousin and me. It was me, my sister, and my cousin. We went to just to check it out for the day. I was like, yo, you can't go here.
Haven't people like caught cases there? I feel like I've seen that. On the
Yeah.
news
Probably.
multiple times. It's like always like UMass.
I don't want to be that guy, but anything that's named UMass has caught a case.
Yeah.
Like there's that's what it is.
I toured UMass Amherst, and I was just like, this place is huge. I don't like it.
Oh yeah,
too big.
it's way too big.
Yeah.
So how do you monitor anything on a campus like that? You
Literally.
don't. Like it's just like, and then I always thought, like, this is gonna be a completely different tangent, but like I always thought the idea of RAs was redundant.
Yeah.
You're putting a student in charge of another
yeah,
student.
they're gonna like let things slide.
Yeah, they don't care.
Well, it's
Especially
like,
at
what's that one John Mulaney bit where he's like, I realized only recently that my babysitter was 13 while I was
Oh yeah,
10.
and that's like, and you're a horse. Yeah, that joke. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The where he's
He's
describing
like, that was
his
a
babysitter.
child watching another child.
I could have just had the horse watching another cow. Yeah, I love that. I think to answer the question about like, is it worth your time? It really depends on what you're going for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that's like a super cliche, but it really does come down to that, especially in America, where it's like, okay, do you need said degree to make it in the department that you're going for?
Yeah.
I say that if you're a teacher, a lawyer, or a doctor, you need a degree.
Yeah.
For sure.
If if you're an engineer, yeah, you probably do need a degree, whether it's trade or an actual like master's,
Yeah.
bachelor's, associates, whatever. I don't know every other job on the planet, but like I would say that creatively,
Yeah.
there's a joke about having an arts degree.
Yeah.
And I totally believe that. Is
Yeah.
that I think that if you are going to school for, let's say, video production or photography or anything like that, I definitely believe that it should be an engineering degree because you're working with
Yeah.
with so many different pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's an arts degree. We're not out here just like, we're gonna make films, like it's just like that's not how. No kid, and I guarantee you this, has ever walked out of a 4-year degree and just busted the doors open and doves flew out from behind them and was like, and I'm in Hollywood. It's not a thing. You know what you ended up doing? You ended up serving food for like 3 years until some guy was like, hey, do you want to run PA for a little bit? It's like, and then they're like, yeah, I totally do. And then they do it and like, you're not getting paid.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you get paid like nothing.
You get
or
paid
like there's
nothing.
like or I'm in a group called Women in Film and Video in New England, and they'll sometimes post like opportunities in their Facebook group, and a lot of the times it's like, I mean, a decent amount of times it's like we're looking for a paid like first AD,
Yeah.
but then like there's some times where it's like we're looking for a volunteer PA, and I'm like that if you're
gonna get
being,
no
like-
one.
Yeah,
Because there's a giant thing happening in Massachusetts with film right now, where it is becoming some of a hub.
yeah.
And a lot of those positions were like, oh, we won't pay you. A lot of people are like, nah,
No thanks.
because they value themselves more. And I
Yeah.
think that happened with a lot of jobs as well. But when it comes to creative, like if I was to end up having a kid and they wanted to do something creative, I would probably tell them that I would tell them to like take a minute and see if they could accomplish the things that they wanted to learn
Yeah.
on their own through the hands of the internet. And then if they wanted to pursue it, go for it. Because I will say this from my own experience that the things that I learned in college, I don't think could have been taught in online courses.
Yeah.
Because there's small, minute, like little tiny things that you like kind of learn, like how to wrap a cable,
Oh my God.
which is a big deal. Like how to wrap a cable, what to wear,
Yeah.
how to be professional behind the camera with people. I think you learn a lot of very like small things about like when you're handling a camera, like aperture, iris, what am I forgetting? Aperture, iris,
ISO,
yeah, exposure, saturation, all that stuff.
I'm just gonna
like
list them.
yeah, just all the things on the camera. And you like learn smaller things, but once again, like those are still things online that you can learn.
Yeah.
Like, and you can, if you have the physical element in your hand, you can do it. It's I think Kevin Smith, who made Jay and Silent Bob and Dogma and all these like indie cult classics.
And that one episode of Degrassi.
Yeah, that's true. He said, he goes, the best thing about right now is that anybody has the absolute internet at their hands to do what we do.
Yeah.
And it's true. You have a phone in your pocket.
Yeah.
There you go.
Actually, it's over there.
You're a filmmaker, kid.
Well, yeah, and it's
I should have a stogie and just like, you're gonna go far, kid. Just because you have a phone.
Well, and it's also like I have a Boston Public Library card. I get free access to LinkedIn Learning with that. So it's like if I decide one day like I want to learn.
Dude, they took us to do the Boston Library thing like the second day we were on campus.
Really?
Yeah, they were like, we're gonna get you a Boston Library card. I never stepped foot in there. But I will tell you this, it's a really cool place.
Like the Copley Square one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think too, like, sucks is like you go in for like this art degree and you come out with loads of debt.
Hey.
And then you're like, what? Like waiter, waitress, like some other job. Like,
I feel
so
like
bad.
I just got very lucky in that like I got jobs based on connections, but I don't like you worked at like you had a bunch of jobs.
I worked at like 3 different jobs before I landed an actual job. So here's my experience with the end of my college career.
Yeah.
I went in because the New England Institute of Art, and I'm going to put them on super blast right now, they guarantee you when you walk into the school that you walk out with a job.
Yeah.
So, and that's probably most schools, but like they were like so adamant about it.
Yeah.
Because of the people that work there. And I will tell you this, I learned from some of the greatest legends in this business.
Yeah.
Because they were so staffed correctly. And it was awesome. And it, like, I will never forget the teachers that worked there. They were great. But then when they started going under and they eventually teached us out and then went under, there was this very hard realization for kids that this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I switched my degree halfway through. I went from audio production to sound and motion picture. And I remember the internship interview with the person that was there. He wasn't like the guidance counselor. He was just like in charge of internships.
Yeah.
And it made me so mad. It still makes me mad. Because what they did is they just shipped everybody to Nesson.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad job, like as an internship, but they never listened to you.
Yeah.
Like I told them, I said, "Oh, that's great." At the time, I wasn't into like sports, like at all. And I'm like, "Oh, that's great, but here's what I want to do. Could you find me?" Because that's his job, is to find me something in that field that I want to work towards. And and he's like, "I don't really know. I can reach out, blah, 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 this and that." I never got nothing. Yeah. I never got an internship. I went out and got my internship. I found a place. Yeah. And it was like this small place in Revere called Sound and Vision.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, and their main source of income was taking tapes and putting them on DVDs.
That's not great.
No. And I only got in there because I knew somebody, which happens a lot. And I just started editing my own stuff, but at least I could edit.
Yeah.
And they had a really great studio. I got to work with 3 different types of RED cameras, which are, if anybody knows, are like $50,000 and more. I got great experience from it, but I found it.
Yes.
And then I went back, and then nothing. And then we got taught out. We had to make a final presentation. My final presentation was called "Failed Correctly" after the greatest mentor in my life, John Gostin, teacher wise.
Mm-hmm.
And I named it that, and all of the teachers in there look like gone.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, "Wait, you want to do YouTube?" And I was like, "Yeah, because our industry's going internet."
Yeah.
And I was right.
Yeah.
And,
no,
Were they all
literally.
like old or something?
They were older, not
Yeah,
like
Older.
super old,
Yeah.
but like they didn't understand at the time like degree to YouTube, which in relative context, you do not need a degree to do YouTube. We know that there are kids out there opening toys on the internet, and they get more views than average.
Those are like the scariest videos.
That kid's gonna.
it freaks me out.
That kid's 5 years old and is making more money than I'll
And
ever
he's
see
got
in
it,
my
and he
life.
has a college like trust fund.
I hate that.
You
They're
know,
gonna have like issues in the future.
I hate that
though.
kid.
There's a lot to
Those
unpack there.
kids,
There's a
like-
super lot to
Well, it's
unpack
like
on
the
that kind
family
of thing.
channels. Where
Yeah,
they're
that
just like,
stuff is
it's
that stuff is
haunting.
really hard to like
Ugh.
talk about. But like I that experience going out, and then I like stepped out of college, and I'm like, all right, here we are.
Hello.
I don't have to take the T in anymore, and I also don't have to drive in. But I have no job, I have no nothing, and I went from working security
Yeah.
to working at a ropes course, which I absolutely loved. And if it was still good and nice to me, I would probably still be working there. I had a whole different experience going into the field. And then when I got into the field, you stay really humble and really appreciative of being there. And I got a little bit lucky because my degree isn't an arts degree; it is a science degree.
Yeah.
So it does look a little bit better. It's
Damn, I got stuck with a BA.
yeah. I do not have a fine arts degree. Which I hate that term.
They're trying to turn my major into a BFA, and they're not succeeding.
Nah, it's just one of those things where like you should pursue anything that you think that is valued of your time, and really put a lot of investigation and time into what school you pick, what degree you pick. I always encourage people that your first year is really, really hard, and you feel like quitting, don't quit.
Yeah.
Just see it through, and then like if you still feel that like after a year you're not capable of this degree or you want to change it. There's no fault, no harm, no foul. Just do it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, like this person's talking about, like, don't waste your time. Just do you failed correctly, you went one path and it didn't work out, now you move the path, like that's it.
Yeah, and that's like something I wish I would have done. Like I love where I went to school. I went to SUNY Purchase, which is the State University in New York, but they're trying to be like, we're a conservatory. I'm like, you got a psychology major right here. Relax. The film majors at that school and the music majors were kind of awful. But anyway, and so it's like I really do like where I went to school, but like I only applied to like 4 colleges.
Yeah.
And it was also like, because they were all public schools. I remember I really wanted to go to Northwestern in Chicago because they have an amazing like film, TV, radio program.
Yeah.
I just knew I couldn't afford it. And because I feel like I would have gotten accepted, but I would have just broken my own heart because like I knew damn well like I would not be able to go there. But I think because like all I applied to was SUNY Purchase, Rutgers in Jersey, which like I really didn't want to go to Rutgers. It was 10 minutes from my house, and my mom was like, "No, it's like you can still dorm." I was like, "I'm not dorming."
It's weird though.
10 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
And I just applied to Rutgers because I was like, I could walk in. Like, and then I applied to, I think, UMass Boston and UMass Amherst. Haha.
Yeah, there you go.
But, no, and it's like, you're saying, like, really, really think about it. I I mean, I do love Purchase. Like, if I had to do it again, I would probably apply to way more schools and, like, also,
Same.
like, maybe go to a different school because it's like I love Purchase, but it was a mess. No, and it's right, like I wish I had like, you know, really dug deep and like thought more and explored more like options, you know.
Yeah, do the work.
Yeah.
I think like what sucks though is because both of you guys had a vision, right, before going to college, and they're like, yeah, like to you, Dane, like they were like, yeah, you're gonna get a job. You come out. Nothing. And so there's some people who walk around and they're like, oh, college is a scam, college is a scam. For, like, someone who's creative, It kind of is.
It kind of is.
Yeah, they're like taking your money, and so you purely have to rely on connections. Then, like,
you
in this industry especially.
Yeah,
you end up producing so many contract workers.
Yep.
There were two things, and this is going to sound really stupid because we're doing it right now. Is I was like, I'm never going to be a contractor, and I'm never going to work in public access. And I'm in public access,
you are.
and the thing, because I had an idea of like what public access was.
Yeah.
Right.
And I like the thing with the whole Andrew's looking at us. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the thing about public access.
Yeah.
I had like an idea of like what public access was, and then it was. Here's one thing I will say about working at Winchester Public Access, essentially WinCamp, is that it is very different from other public access places in Massachusetts. We have all toured the websites of public access and community media, and some of them are not great. I would say 85% of them are not great.
They all look like they're stuck in like 1990s.
Like on the 2000s, like Apple computer with the back. There's like, that's like what it looks like.
That were like the different colors.
And, it looks terrible. But like, I had one way out west, and I went there, and it was in a house.
Yeah.
Like, at least here, when I came here, I was like, oh, this is like a thing.
It's a place.
Yeah, this is a place.
Yeah.
It's a business. It's a it serves its community. It has a lot of like different like media, like actual media.
Yeah.
And that's why I was really happy that I got to come and work here and like still work here. It's like great. It values a lot of the time of its community, which is great. But I never wanted to be a contractor because it's not steady work.
Exactly. Like you could go months without working. That's why like I low key refuse to do like contract work. And when I was applying for jobs, like I got my first job. I've been in public access since about like 2018. I interned at Marshfield, which is like south of Boston, like on the South Shore.
Yeah.
And and I got that job because of connections. Like I had an internship there, and then the executive director emailed me as I was graduating from college and said, hey, we just had this part-time PA position open up. Like, do you want it? And I was like, oh my God, yes, no one has answered me. But yeah, I would apply for jobs, and I still see this sometimes, where like you filter in only full-time jobs.
Yeah.
But, like, you open up the posting and it says contract. Or it'll say, like, this will start as a temporary, but we'll move to full-time with the right person.
Yeah, I hate that one. It's like you're working from October to next October, and then we don't know.
Yeah.
And
no, I like
hate
that because it scares me because it's like I'm someone who, like, needs to know, like, what's happening.
Yeah.
And so, like, I can't work at a place where, like, I don't know if I'm going to be there in, like, a month.
Yeah, because that's not stable then.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a goal of everybody that went to college, that you want at least a stable job.
And you know what really sucks is, like, technically for doing stuff creative, college is almost kind of a scam. But you look at job postings, they're like, you need a bachelor's in this.
Yeah, change the requirements. I think for all jobs, if you keep telling me that I need 2 years experience, then my 2 years of college experience should count.
No, yeah. And it's like, and it sucks because it's like, I don't think years should equate experience. Like, I have only been using After Effects for like 4 years, but like I have a lot of experience with it because I use it all the time.
Yeah.
Photoshop, Photoshop I've been using for a while. I just make memes on it. But, like, I've only been using it since about, like, 2016, but, like, I would consider myself an expert level at that, and it sucks that, like, I low-key have to, like, sometimes fudge the truth a little bit on job applications.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, when they're like, you need 4 years experience of this thing, I'm like, I know how it works. I've only been, 4 years.
Yeah, it's like when it's like you get taught Final Cut, and it's like, cool, I know Final Cut. That means I've known Final Cut for 4 years. That doesn't mean I've used it every single day of my life.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Like, it's like...
Yeah, it's incomparable.
Yeah,
it really depends. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, change your requirements, and then maybe more people will come out of the woodwork.
No, yeah, and it's like, if I can do the job and... like, I have a portfolio website. I need to make an actual reel that's just one video, but that's a problem for when I have time, and I never have time. But it's like, I have a portfolio website that has, like, everything I've made from, like, graphic design to, like, videos. And it's like, oh, but you only have, like, 3 years experience. I'm like, look at this thing I made.
Yeah.
Like...
That's where it matters.
It's obnoxious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's stuff that's, like... like the other thing I'll say about contract work, if you are somebody that's in the field and like it is contract work, figure out what kind of contract work it is because some good stuff will come your way and you're like pick and choose what you want. You can say no and you can be picky. Like depending upon like towards when your level of career is. Like the one things I took contract wise was I got to work with Cube, like Ice Cube, and like I was able to like do some editing for some dude's reel, but like the footage for Cube was on there.
Yeah, that's cool.
So like like you get to work with these people, and then all of a sudden it's like you show people that part of your reel, and they're like, oh my god, you know, like you so take so you take that you take that like experience and you can navigate it and fudge it a little bit.
Yeah, I use my Fenway Park video that I made for WinCam like as a lot of clout. I'm like, hey, look at this like mini documentary I made.
Yeah, because it comes with it.
Yeah,
you know, like our highlights, the highlights that I edited went to Fox, but like
they botched it.
Fox.
I'm still mad about that.
It's so dumb. But like this stuff that like I would say could take contract work as long as it looks good. Like ask questions.
Definitely, and like investigate it because like sometimes like not even people will try to screw you over. There's always that chance.
Especially in like I think creative fields.
Oh, 100%.
Get paid like half
I can't pay rent with exposure.
Exposure doesn't pay my bills. Like also get paid half of it up front.
Yeah.
Like that's just a down payment.
No, and I love when they try to lowball you. It's like, oh yeah, you'll earn like about $15 an
know
hour. I'm like,
value.
no, you're gonna pay me at least $21.
That's
an
a
hour.
big thing in our company. Know your value. It's important. Because you will not get it. Everybody wants to offer you lower.
Exactly, and don't accept it.
Because you aren't Scorsese and you're not what's his name, Quentin Tarantino, but like you are you and you know what you're valued at.
Yeah,
like it's like,
and you know your skill level.
And by the way, Quentin Tarantino sucks. I'm gonna put that out there.
He might come for you after this.
That's fine. He can put me in his 10th and final film. Thank God.
What, Kill Bill number 75?
No,
He's gonna call it Kill Dane.
Yeah, kill me. Do it. After what he did to Bruce Lee, I'm done.
What did he do to Bruce Lee?
I watched. What is it called? The Thing and something in Hollywood. The last one he did. It's something about Hollywood. I can't remember. Brad Pitt and Leo were in it. And they depicted Bruce Lee as being like, you might have to put a beep on this, of being an asshole. And they made it like, one, Bruce Lee is like a modern, like he was one of the like modern philosophers, and he developed his own taekwondo, and then he in a way of life, and then like you're gonna do him like this. It's not even depicted in a funny way. It's just depicted as like he sucked working with him, and I'm like, how would you know? You weren't there, and you're trash. Like your movies are books, and even when movies are adapted from books, they're not as long as yours. I would have a fight with Quentin Tarantino. It would be so great.
You could take him.
Oh, I could take him. I couldn't. I would be like I would literally just be like, you know what the best part of your movies is? Samuel L. Jackson. You know what the best part of Samuel L. Jackson is? Everything, not you. And like that's it. Like I will tell them this. Hateful Eight, great movie. That was a great movie. He made that movie. That was great. Everything else is crazy. Django Unchained was okay.
All right. Going on to the second response, because we have another one.
Oh, here we go.
Someone says, as someone who isn't a senior, I feel like college has always been the path. Like, I must go there to continue my education and start my adult life, but I have zero clue what I would even consider studying in college, so I don't even know how to prepare for the next years to prep me for college. College may be worth it for some, but I feel completely blind and alone even looking at options for my future.
Isn't it messed up how they ask you when you're like 18 years old, when your brain is barely developed, like, what are you going to do for the rest of your life?
What do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know, man.
I don't know. I'm not grown up.
I thought these blocks were cool. You know? Yeah. That's a hard one because I think that can relate to anybody.
Yeah.
You don't got to make a decision right now.
Yeah, they
That's the
drill
first
it
thing.
into your head, like, you have to decide your major,
Nope.
your career path, and it's, like, because I remember, it was stressful as hell.
Yeah.
When it's, like, I just want to, like, sit these kids down and be like, you don't need to know exactly what you're going to do right now. I'm 25 years old.
Yeah.
I'm still very early on in my career. I graduated college, 3 years ago. I still don't totally know, like, I started out, like, I wanted to be an actress, and then I realized I hated being on camera, and I was like, cool, I'm not doing that. And when I told my dad in my freshman year of high school, I was like, maybe I want to be a theater major. I thought he was going to have a heart attack right then and there. And it's just, like, I'm still changing my mind a lot. Like, yeah, like, I still do, I know I want to keep doing videos. I love editing videos.
Yeah.
But it's, like, maybe I might I've done marketing in the past. Like, maybe I might want to go to, like, a marketing track or, like, PR track, something like that. Or maybe one day I'll make a total career change. Maybe I will decide one day, like, I want to... I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not actually going to do this because I'm bad at math. Maybe I want to be an accountant.
Oh gosh.
My dad's an accountant. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
But it's just like the idea. They drill this idea into your head. You have to know what you're going to do, or else
Especially
you're
here
screwed. Oh
in this
yeah, I can
town.
imagine.
It's even worse. I feel bad because, like, I know there's so many other kids that they don't know what they want to do. And then it's like, okay, community college and gap years are still somewhat looked down upon. And then there's kids that don't even, like, fit into these boxes that, like, the kids who go to Voc school and want to do trade and stuff like that. And it's like, I feel like, I've always thought this, but I feel like in high school they should have some, like, college prep class. Like, I was learning algebra. I'm not going into any job with
when
algebra.
you could have been learning how to register for classes.
Exactly. It's like stuff like that, and even just like paying your taxes, like simple stuff. We don't even have sex ed.
Yeah,
that was a discussion we had.
What are these
We
kids
know.
doing? First of all, that's the first red flag for this town.
Yeah, it's a giant. It's a
the
giant
day
red flag.
Yeah.
me and Dane found that out, I thought we were going to explode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's a hard one, and I'm not gonna talk about it because we'll literally
We're going to get fired.
yeah.
Well, I still remember, like, the one, Jersey has its problems. It's New Jersey.
I'll preface with every single place has its issue.
Yeah.
But, like, we were required by law, we had to take a financial lit class to graduate high school.
Which it should,
Yeah,
because
no, for
Yeah.
real.
you should
should
have a
be that
life
everywhere.
prep class. Like literally.
Like, how to do basic domestic things, how to make a budget, how to pay your taxes.
Dude, you should know how to clip coupons. You should just be able to, like, go and figure out how to do your budgeting and, like, how to do not balance a checkbook because those don't work anymore.
I still pay my rent with checks.
I hate checks.
Same.
If you like I remember in my what do you call it? It was called freshman seminar.
Yeah.
Oh,
In college, yeah.
Yeah,
And in freshman seminar, we had to fill out a budget. Mm-hmm. And I filled out a budget for my family. And my teacher, Hugo Burnham, the man, was in a super famous band in England called Gang of Four. Mm-hmm. He was like, "Oh, you only have $100 for food here a month. This is wrong." And I went,
What do you
"No,
mean
it's
it's
not."
wrong?
And he goes,
right.
"What do you?" And he looked at me and he literally was gonna almost have me in tears, like I was gonna cry, because he's like, "It's gonna get better." And I was like, "I know," but like that's what we can afford.
Uh-huh.
And I think a lot of people need that kind of thing. They need to talk about how they're gonna live.
Yeah.
Because just going to college doesn't mean you're gonna be well off or live.
Exactly.
Depending upon what you go for.
Uh-huh.
Like you have so much time, and if you want your fortune cookie of the day for me is that time and age don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if we're correct,
Yep.
and you can't prove it to me.
You can't predict the future. Like,
Yeah.
no one knows what's going to happen.
Your time could be different from my time
Yeah.
and to Haley's time. Your age, my age, her age can all be different.
I've always put so much pressure on myself. Like at 17, 16, I was like, okay, I have to, like, get my stuff together
Nope.
right now and start doing
And
X,
you don't.
Y, and
No,
Z.
there's some little things that you should do.
Yeah.
And, like, educate yourself about, but, like, you should always have your eye open to the world and take in that media and things like that. But, like, you have to do the digging.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the best things about growing up in Chelsea was that I was 14 years old and I had this teacher who did not care. He was like did not care in the way of like I'm gonna teach you the right way of life. Like he was, and his name was Mr. A, and he was the man. And he came in and he just like would scream at us for like an hour. But like scream like he's like, you need to read the newspaper. And like and like when you read that newspaper you gotta go home and you gotta Google it, and then when you Google that article you need to Google that article, and like he's like he would go in on us, and that's what taught me to like not believe just CNN.
Teaching you how to be a person basically instead of outside
and like how to judge things correctly. Like I don't watch the news because
I don't either.
I watch the local...
I'm ashamed that Twitter is my news.
No, same.
No, don't be ashamed. Like, that's how I get my news.
Yeah,
I watch the local news stations if I want to find out if it's going to rain today or if it's going to snow in August.
I just use the app.
I mean, that too.
Yeah, I've heard,
But, what was I going to say? I have a New York Times subscription because I had to get one for my journalism class in college, but then I just kept it because I liked it. But it's like, I would rather get news, like, my own way, and, like, it teaches you to, like, judge sources. Like, that's at least one of the valuable things I learned, like, in high school, in between all the fights that were happening in the hallway.
I don't discourage anybody from doing, like, having a plan. You definitely should have a plan, but, like, do not put this entire pressure on you that, like, by the time you're 21, your life is figured out. Yeah. It's not. Even late into your 30s, you still don't really have a purpose. Like, you find purpose in life in different ways. Everybody's puzzle piece is completely different.
Yeah.
It's not carbon copied. And I think that's a little bit of the pressure from this town sometimes is that like
definitely.
Everyone comes out a carbon copy of like, you need this. And it's like, okay, but did you ever ask what they want to do?
Yeah.
You know? And like, we've had a couple like people that are going to stay unnamed and that have like, I wanted to do this, but even when I did do this, I got slack from my mom or dad or this and that, and it's like it's disheartening to hear because like they're really good at that, or like and you should encourage them and stuff like that. But if they are going to do that, you need to be in a top 5 school. It's like no, you don't. You don't.
It doesn't matter.
And I know
it is 60% luck and then like 40% hard work.
Yeah.
So like if you're determined to do the thing that you want to do, you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
I full-heartedly believe that. It's just about putting in the work.
Yeah.
And that's on them, not about the education system. But you should have a good education.
Yeah. And like Dane and I told you this like a while ago. Like we're like I'm 25. You're like what? Like
28.
28. We the two of us we don't know what we're doing. Like we're kind of like I'm like winging life as it goes essentially. You know, like I live like I didn't see myself. I didn't plan to live in a house in Boston with like 7 people.
Yeah.
But like, you know, things just happen. Like and the fact that like we're expecting kids to know like exactly what they want to do, exactly how their lives are going to go. It's like this is also like I mean, you know, from a very anxious person, like it's stressful to be like I need to figure this all out now. And it's really funny that we're talking about this because one of my best friends just turned 24. You know, she lives down in Connecticut. She has a full-time job, but, like, you know, she's still saving up for an apartment. She's living with her parents. And I remember talking to her on her birthday, and she said, like, yeah, like, being 24 now, it feels kind of weird. I feel like I would have done more by now, you know? And it's like... And I'm like, I mean, I get that. Like, I get that way of thinking, because believe me, I feel that way sometimes. I'm just like, man, I'm 25. Like, I live in this house instead of having, like, an apartment. But then I look back, I'm like, my brother lived at home until he was, like, 28 because he graduated during the recession.
Yeah, there's a gradual culture right now where, like, we're suspected to know everything and be well like it's not like that anymore.
It's not like that.
No.
It's not an accomplishable goal. Like kids are figuring out a lot of things through the internet and like in social media. And one of my favorite things is that Bo Burnham, the comedian, has a great take on social media where he thinks that it is a terrible idea that everybody's got to be a brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one cares.
No,
one cares.
it's like they always say.
I don't care.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
they always say, like, people only show their best things on social media. No one's showing
Yeah.
when they're, like, unless you have a Finsta, no one's showing when
Yeah.
you're, like, crying about, like,
That's
you
for
lost.
Snapchat.
That's for Snapchat. That's for my
Snapchat
private story.
Yeah, private stories.
That's
It's
for
also
my
just,
private
like-
story with my friends.
Like, I don't know if I'm just like a little bit different from that. Like, where it's like, I didn't need to tell everybody anything about like bad things in my life. Because
Yeah.
one, why does it matter?
Yeah.
And like, I like to, put out the good stuff out there. But I heard this somewhere where it's like, you put out the bad stuff, everybody gets like involved. You put out the good stuff, no one
No one
does.
cares.
No one
Yeah.
cares.
With the bad stuff though, like going back on that, I remember being in middle school and I like see people's stories. I'm like, why are you talking about all this personal stuff? Like in my head, I'm like, someone's gonna use that against you. at
That
some
and also
point.
journal.
Yeah.
Just journal.
Yeah,
I
just-
love journaling.
Yeah, 'cause
That's right.
it's more awkward. But also going back to that like high school thing about your teacher and stuff. Like I have this one English teacher and I appreciate her so much because she will like go places other teachers won't. Like
Yeah.
she'll keep it real and tell us like what life is actually like and what we should actually be doing instead of like filling us with like fantasy land, can't talk about this, can't talk about
Yeah.
that. And I just really wish we had like, like calculus, that's not going to help me. Like as a creative person, I
Ugh.
am not doing that. Like I wish
There
Hated
should be
calc.
some kind of like, I believe that
college class, like
Yeah, you
prepare,
should
or
be-
like
Just like a life
financial
skills
stuff.
class.
How to market
Something.
yourself to people.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
point blank. Like everyone needs to know. how to do
Yeah,
that no matter
no.
where your job is.
And in that financial lit class I took in high school, we
Yeah.
had a unit where he taught us about like applying to jobs and doing job interviews.
I wish I had
which
that.
I actually, when I applied to Montclair State, that was one of the other schools I applied to, also in Jersey.
Uh-huh.
And I had to do an interview for the TV production major. So that was actually like pretty helpful. And like, so yeah, he literally gave us an assignment where he showed us how to write a resume, format a cover letter, and we did mock interviews. Like he would sit down with each of us and like he's like, okay, I'm the boss, I'm hiring you for this position.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you all the questions and do you have any questions for me? And it was, I hate interviews still. They stress me out. That's why I love that nowadays they're mostly on Zoom. It's great. But those are valuable skills that like we gotta incorporate into public schools because
And
like
sex ed.
and sex ed.
I
Jesus
know you're
Christ.
clamoring at us to say something, but we're not. I don't even know how. I don't know. where to
I'm
begin.
fighting myself to not say stuff. Like
Yeah,
this
it's
whole
a-
time I've been like, oh, don't swear, don't say this.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
man, that was
that was a
Jesus
shocker,
Christ.
to be honest, for me and Haley both when we heard that. And
yeah.
it
We
was
went
like-
silent. We were like, excuse me.
In my health class in middle school, we barely even went over that. We talked about mental health, sexuality. That was it. I don't even remember them going up talking about
It's a
that
weird
in
jump.
7th grade.
What's up?
It's a weird jump. Mental health and sexuality.
That's it. Those are the two genders.
It was
Yeah.
it was like no, that class there was like so much drama in there because we have like a mix of people with certain opinions.
Yeah,
No,
I feel
no.
you.
It's
I would
just
love to sit in
chaotic
on that. I just want
We-
to watch it happen.
In Jersey, it's like mandated in like the law, I'm pretty sure, that in schools when they teach sex ed, they have to teach you about consent.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
we don't hear-
dude, I don't. Middle school, high school, when I was in school. Ooh, man. They taught us, but man, did they not know that we were kind of already figuring it out?
Yeah.
Like that was a weird part about growing up where I grew up, where it was very like I don't know, like it was just like people kind of already figured that stuff up. So when we got to the like other stuff, or you talk to your parents, was like you were kind of already taught it.
Yeah.
So I'm very I don't know, because because right now I don't know what the whole thing about the ban books thing and ban the
It's because this actually
ban
like
the word
really
gay and stuff, like
this actually really like rings like true to me because like I'm Jewish and there's school districts in the South that are trying to ban like the book Mouse. It's like the graphic novel about the Holocaust. They're trying to ban it, and it's like are you seriously, you want to keep these kids ignorant, and like,
Yeah.
and they're banning books that even mention a gay character, even if they're not the main character, they're just gay. Nope. And it's like,
It's weird.
and it's like, maybe it's because, I mean, we both grew up in the Northeast. We both grew up
Yeah.
in a very liberal part in the country, so it's maybe that influences it a little bit. But at the
With
same
a
time,
little bit of secret racism.
I
There's,
mean,
like,
yeah.
That's the
The
that's the
diet
thing about
racism.
the thing about Boston is that it is like on one of the highest
It
like
is.
thing about and it's true.
So-
Go to a Red Sox game. Like it's very true.
Yeah, so like
it's very unfortunate. You remember when they put the Black Lives Matter thing up on the Red Sox?
Yeah,
on
and everyone
Fenway?
flipped
And
out.
everyone lost it. I was like, and then like there was a whole community of like younger people that were like, "Go back inside, old whitey." Like we were like,
no, and my
like, they were-
favorite thing is those
like,
people
you're
don't
gonna
even
get a
live in
Fenway
Boston.
Frank anyways. Shut up. Like
No,
that.
they don't even like live in Boston. That's
Yeah,
the funniest
yeah.
part. Every comment on the mayor's Instagram was from people in like New Hampshire talking about Michelle Wu's a communist, and I'm like, bro, you don't even live here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really mentioning Boston is a very segregated city, and it's
Yeah.
sad. When I was commuting to Marshfield to get to the highway, I had to go through Mattapan and Dorchester, and what was crazy is you pass through Mattapan, and then the second you cross into Dorchester, it's like the real nice part of Dorchester that borders Milton. And the stark difference from just even crossing over is just insane. And like where I live in Jamaica Plain, and I live by both Brookline and I live by Roxbury.
Yep.
And I've driven through both places, and just the difference is just
There's a weird and there's an old stigma about it because it's not like there is still some stuff, but like it's not as bad as people still think it is. And the other thing is that they think that like it's always bad is always happening. It's like no. It's not like every second of the day someone's getting like hurt. Like no, it's not
only
how
those
this
3
works.
kids in downtown Crossing.
Yeah, it's only downtown crossing. It's
Station's cursed.
So that station is cursed.
No,
and
my
so is
roommate-
Park Street.
My roommate commutes there, and she's like, I've seen some weird things at DTX.
Same. That I
Yeah.
really do. Like go out, experience things. Like it's, and like also just like don't be like. I hope parents, if they are listening to this, any residents listening to this, that like don't be scared because they just no one's gonna hurt them.
I know,
Like,
and that's what
Yeah.
like people think. It's like, oh, like don't like people say all the time, like, oh, don't go to Roxbury. It's dangerous
Yeah,
there.
it's
And
such a
like-
Winchester thing too.
And
I
it's
hear
like
all the
I
time.
live by Roxbury,
Yeah.
and I am alive. It's
Yeah.
fine.
You need to like live your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
go.
yeah. No, I even with my parents, they'll be like, "Oh, this is bad place. This is bad place."
Yeah.
Then you're just like living in fear because like there's people that are not dead
Yeah, it's
that are living in other
There's
places.
people
and there's
who live
normal
there.
Oh,
people too. Yeah.
yeah. It's like. Do you know the Simba meme with
Oh yeah,
with-
the
with
light,
Lin?
everything the light touches.
Yeah, everything like touches. What about over there? And it's Lynn. Like it's just like, and it's like, dude, I've lived next to Lynn my entire life. I've been through Lynn so many
Yeah.
times. It's like, yeah, it's a little bit nuts, but who cares?
Yeah.
Like it's just like it's like that happens all the time. And it's just like what's that? That's Lynn. Oh, that's Dorchester. Oh, that's this. It's like who cares? It's like
First of all, I
we
go to
say that-
Dorchester all
we
the
say
time.
that all the time, and none of like it doesn't happen. Like
And the things they're talking about happen in like every city,
every
neighborhood.
single city, yeah,
Even in Back Bay, I'm sure someone shot someone once.
yeah, or right now,
Or
But,
right
like,
now.
the-
Someone got, like,
Someone
shot
got
in-
stabbed in our library. So
I remember that.
The
Yeah.
Winchester?
I read it.
Oh, I
I read it.
remember that story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I read it. We read it, and I was like, because I had to like listen to that, and then like I also hang out in Woburn a lot, and Woburn has a lot of cases.
Well, it's
Yeah.
really funny. Someone got stabbed at Faneuil Hall a while ago. It's Faneuil Hall where all the tourists and their kids go. And it was so funny because I was
Yeah.
at my friend's gig in Somerville that night, and I look at my one friend. I'm like, oh, it's a good thing we don't go in Faneuil Hall. Someone got stabbed. I was
Yeah.
like real casual. and she
people
was like,
will get stabbed everywhere and anywhere.
yeah, that's the
Definitely.
lesson you should take from this.
There's evil everywhere, but
Exactly.
it doesn't mean that every single person is evil.
Yeah.
Like that's like the big takeaway is that like
You have to watch your back though.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
yes.
There's just like,
Not safe.
but like, I think that's a big thing that I've talked to my friend about this a lot. That I think culturally, religiously, sexuality, gender,
Yeah.
No,
I think a lot of
whatever,
people.
better.
I think people should sit down from different communities and talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like pick a representative and just let them talk to each other because like and hold it in different towns because like it will open a lot of people's eyes to like, oh, maybe we're wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like
branch out a little bit. Like go explore a different place. Even if it's like you're going from Winchester to Woburn or Stoneham.
Yeah.
Stoneham? I don't even know anymore.
Stoneham.
I don't. This state's stupid. Anyway,
Worcester. Yeah.
Worcester's the one that gets so much hate, and it should because they're like, we're Boston too. You're
it's like, no, you're not.
You're
Shut
nothing.
Up.
Yeah.
Although I did see someone.
You have the DCU Center and the Palladium.
Someone did once say, like, actually, it kind of makes more sense for Worcester to be the capital because it's right in the middle of the state, and everyone was like,
that.
and someone was like, I agree, but no.
Yeah. Yeah,
someone.
That'd be terrible.
There's a tweet that said, I'm going to start telling people Dorchester's pronounced Dooster.
Yeah, that's a... God. That's a hard one. But, like, go out and explore. Like, I'll tell you this. When I was working for... I worked for an ambulance company. Mm-hmm. And I, like, drove the wheelchair-capable vans around. Mm-hmm. And I got to explore a lot of places of Massachusetts that I didn't know, like Hingham and the other one there, right on the end. Hingham and starts with an H.
Hanson?
Hull.
Oh,
Hull. Mm-hmm. So, by the way,
yes.
If you go to Hull, that's where the world ends.
Yeah. And
Literally.
there's one road that takes you there.
It's one road that goes to the ocean.
Really?
And that's it.
Is there no houses?
No, there is. It's like something out of a
there.
Stephen King novel.
There's a
weird.
high school?
It's its own thing with probably a population of 200. And it's a very, very fine town. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. But it's like the end of the earth.
Just creepy.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's like...
that's where people should stay away from.
Yeah, because
that's the place.
They'd never know.
You don't come back.
Yeah, safer inland than over there.
Like that was like I had a lot of those experiences in Chelsea when I was growing up because my mom would be like, stay off of Grove Street, and like I was like, okay. And then when I started like either getting driven to work or walking home or things like that, I made it a point to walk up Grove Street, so that I could know what was happening.
Yeah,
nothing ever happened to me.
Yeah.
And that because I mind my business, I kept my head down, I kept going. People that end up hurt are because they were affiliated with something, or because they didn't mind their business.
Exactly, and that's people have this like misconception of cities or like certain neighborhoods of cities where if you just go there, you're gonna die. One of my friends lives in Quincy, and when I go to her house, like I have to go through Mattapan to get there. And I drove home that night. I drove home at like 2 a.m. through Mattapan, and I'm still here. And it's like because I'm just living.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how nice people are. Yeah. Because like when I was growing up in Chelsea, it's like a family, like where
it's also so small.
It's 1.6 square miles. Jeez. I could walk it in 45 minutes. I have probably walked every single street in Chelsea, and the thing is like my favorite thing was like if you were hurt or something was happening or something was going on, like most likely that person had the same experience as you at some point. So like my favorite thing would be like I love old Spanish dudes because they'd be like, hey yo Poppy, you okay? And I'm just like I'm like yeah, I'm fine man, I'm fine. And he goes, all right, I'm just checking in. You know, like they like they always check on you. Like it's really crazy. And then you make it known that person was looking out for you, so now you're like, oh, what's up? You know, like how you doing? Yeah. Like and you would make sure that like they're okay. Like if there's something going down, you just mind your business.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like but like I feel like even here, there's a lot of secrecy to stuff that happens here.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I agree.
And like we just go,
he's like, shh.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Like and it's just
I think it's like a thing in like a lot of small towns.
Be transparent.
Like, there's like a lot of like fronting.
Yeah. Be transparent because all you're doing is encouraging something else.
And that's like my biggest thing.
You're encouraging an agenda.
And I told you this. I hate people who are fake. Yeah. Like, I've worked in jobs where it's like, I knew people didn't like me, but what bothered me the most was them, like, trying to put on a fake nice act. Like, and I'm like, no, we don't like each other. We're not going to have a conversation. I'm going to come in, do my job, and go home. Like, and I feel like I get that.
You can still be cordial to each other and not like each other.
Exactly.
Like if you work together, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. And there's like, but like, I don't know. I think that
I just don't like fake people.
for their education purposes, like for specifically here, is like, if you want to do it, do the research, do what you want to do. Talk to your parents, but like your parents' word isn't always going to be
Yep.
gold.
Yeah.
You know?
Everyone should just like not listen to their
Don't
parents.
listen to your parents. They don't know nothing.
And go into sketchy neighborhoods.
Go into
Yeah.
sketchy neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's what will get posted on the headline.
Yeah.
Is that like we had this whole in-depth, really deep conversation and like, yo, your employees told us to send our kids into Roxbury and unarmed and
Unarmed.
and let them get shot.
to do drugs. And it's just like we didn't.
We didn't.
It's
That's just
like,
what you think happens in Roxbury.
yeah, I'm like I encourage a better communication and better value of anybody's thoughts.
Yeah.
Parents and children.
And, like,
Because
just an understanding.
You should have those conversations because it's really, really insightful. I was lucky enough to have a mom that talked my ear off about stuff.
Yeah.
So I like just continuously made my own opinions. And I think that's what needs to happen with this. What it's about college, you know, it's your life.
Yeah.
You're
Don't
not
let
do not
anyone
let
else
any
sway it.
parents like let you think like you're fulfilling their dream.
Yeah.
Their dream, I'm hoping that their dream is that you're successful and you're happy.
Yeah.
Your
Happiness
happiness.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's
always.
like my dad told me because he took out a whole parent loan for me to go to school.
Same.
Because like also like when my brother and I are 10 years apart, my brother went to high school. He graduated from high school in 2005. And my mom, like at the time, was on unemployment because she got laid off at her job, and my dad was like really doing bad financially, and so my brother had to take out like two loans essentially, like one federal loan and one private loan because neither one of my parents could get a parent loan. And I remember my dad is now helping my brother pay off his student loans because he was like, I couldn't do this for you when you were in college, let me at least do this for you now. And when I went to college, he was like, I'm taking out a parent loan. I know it's going to be expensive, but like, he said to me once, like, I want my kids to do better than I did.
Yeah.
Like, I want my kids to thrive, and I want my kids to at least like have a chance to succeed. Because like, you know, when my dad went to college, his parents didn't have that much money, so like he lived in Brooklyn. He had to go to Brooklyn College, like didn't dorm or anything, lived like down the street. And he was like, you know, I want you to have like the actual college experience.
Yeah.
Like he was, and so, because he once said to me, like, I don't understand parents who like refuse to help their kid out to go to college, because it's like, don't you want your kids to do better?
That's the same thing. I feel that same way. I think we're gonna have to wrap soon.
Yeah.
But like I feel the same way about people who are like, you're 18, get out.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
Me and my mom own a home together, but I don't live with my mom.
Yeah.
Like we own a home together. Like that's just how it is. Like I don't think any parent should be like, get out.
yeah,
Like
I
it's
don't.
like that's your kid.
That's
and you
like
should
your
love them
flesh
always.
and blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
And of course you're anybody that like listens to this and has like a different opinion, that's great. And like your opinion is totally valid and your opinion is completely okay, and I respect it, even though I don't know what it is, because that's the one thing that we get wrong a lot, is that my opinion, Hannah's opinion, Haley's opinion isn't fact.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
opinion.
just an opinion. It
Yeah.
it is not hurting anybody. It is not healing anybody. It is just simply putting out into the ether, and like that's it.
And our 2 viewers.
And our 2 viewers, and
And
it
those
just
3 people
goes
who
out
are going to
there.
listen to this.
And like that's it. And like if you take something from it, cool. If you disagree, awesome. If you agree, awesome. Like everything's okay.
Yeah.
Like none of this is gonna change a process.
Yeah.
You know, it's whatever you honestly feel is right.
Yeah.
You know?
And you can't change people's thoughts and feelings.
No.
Yeah.
You
and
can
some-
try to
and
give them
sometimes.
other viewpoints.
Yeah,
but
and you can have a discussion, which I always am open to. I think everybody should have a discussion
Yeah.
about everything. A non-volatile, like volatile.
oh, so you mean I can't call people idiots?
Yeah, just don't like start the conversation with boom. You know, like,
First
like-
of all,
like-
here's why you're wrong.
Yeah, just like talk.
Yeah. So probably to wrap this up, is college worth it? It depends on the person, and I think really, what you want to get out of it, what you want to do, and specifically what you're interested in. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for listening, if someone is. And go follow Let's Get Real Winchester on Instagram if you're cool. And that's the end of that.
Wow. Just like, let's segregate the audience real quick.
Mic drop.
All right.
And also go to Roxbury and do drugs and get shot.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's what you should get from
That's
this.
what we said.
Yep.
Don't listen to
That's
your
exactly
parents.
what we said. Don't listen to your parents. Go to Roxbury.
Dude, cut this part out.
And if you are a parent, go join your kid to go to
Roxbury.
and
Both
do
of you.
drugs
Make it a
with
day. Make it a family trip. Bring a
trip.
picnic.
Yep.